Howdy, partners. You're listening to Conversations with Jacob, hosted by my good friend, Jacob Waller. Make sure to check out the podcast where podcasts are available and check out the video version on YouTube. You can follow us on social media. Facebook is Conversations with Jacob. Twitter is at CWJ Podcast. And you can visit our website, conversationswithjacobpodcast.weebly.com. Hey, you got a show idea? Maybe a guest suggestion? Email us at conversationswithjacob@gmail.com. Now, here's your host, Jacob Waller.
And what's going on, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Conversations with Jacob. Oh, we got a good episode lined up for you today, and we're talking some Elvis. But before we get to our guest this week, I want to do a few podcast plugs. Would you catch the podcast every Monday at 1 p.m.? What you heard Jake Thorne with the Facebook and Twitter. And the podcasting platforms is, I think we're on Amazon. We're on, I think, iHeartRadio at this point, and about 20 different podcasting platforms. The mailbag is conversationswithjacob@gmail.com. And website, of course, you can find upcoming episodes, past guests, and so much more. And also, if you like podcasting, check out Two Chairs No Waiting. That's an Andy Griffin fan podcast and hosted by Adam Newsom, who, by the way, will be on the podcast next week. You can check out his podcast at twochairsnowaiting.com and also on YouTube. Also joining me today is Austin Irby. Austin, how you doing?
I'm doing good, man. Can't complain.
That's good. All right. For the folks who don't know nothing about you, can you give us a little background on who you are?
Yeah, how long we got? No, I'm just kidding. My name is Austin Irby, and I'm an internationally acclaimed award-winning entertainer and tribute artist from the state of South Carolina.
All right. Now, and how did you get involved with Elvis, and how did you become an Elvis fan?
Well, that's another long story. So my dad was the big Elvis fan, and still is to this day. He introduced me to Elvis when I was like in a car seat, riding in a Ford Ranger. So that was a long time ago. And my dad was playing Elvis's one of the Christmas albums, and I believe it was Santa Claus is Back in Town. I believe was playing, and my dad's like beating on the stern wheel and everything. And as I remember that. So being very, very young, like I don't know, probably 3, 4, I don't know. I remember the song, who was singing it. I remember all that, and that just shows you how Elvis impacts your life. So fast forward a little bit. I was raised in my family church. I started singing behind the pulpit, standing in a chair, playing a guitar because I was so little. You couldn't see me behind the pulpit. And then when I was about 10 years old, my dad kind of really took an extra step to introduce me to Elvis Presley and who he was. And that was through the movie Jailhouse Rock, which is a big popular, movie for Elvis in the 50s. And I saw Elvis up there, dancing and doing all that fun stuff and with Jailhouse Rock. And I was like, man, as a 10-year-old, I looked at my mom and dad and I'm like, this guy's cool. This guy's got everything. I want to be like this guy. So when I was about, I don't know, probably 13, I guess, 12, 13, I did my first gig about 30 minutes from where I live here. And I got paid $50 and thought I was the richest kid in the world. I went and spent it all at Walmart. But started doing it professionally in 2012. And man, I've been blessed. And, there's only one Elvis. There's never going to be another.
Now, do you got a favorite song that you like by Elvis, or is there a favorite song that you like to perform?
That's a question that us as tribute artists has always asked in an interview or wherever, and it's a difficult one to answer for some of us, including me. Favorite song. It kind of changes on a daily basis. This might sound weird, but it kind of depends on the mood I'm in. So right now, I don't think this would particularly have anything to do with my mood, but a song that's been constantly in my head that I've been singing a lot is a song called Western Union, which is a very, very rare song that Elvis sang. I don't think that would have anything to do with my mood, because of what the song is about, but it's just one that's kind of been stuck in my head. Favorite song to perform, man, there's a list. But one that fans always expect me to do is Bossa Nova, Baby, from Fun in Acapulco. So, but yeah, man, the favorite song changes on a daily basis.
Now, and how hard is it for a Elvis tribute artist to learn the dance moves and the mannerism of Elvis Presley?
Very difficult. We like to say that we go to Elvis University 24/7. Because you literally learn something new about Elvis every single day. It never fails. Which is an awesome thing. It's not a bad thing. But, as far as the movements and the mannerism stuff, just basically sitting here at my desk and watching YouTube, because that's really all we got to reflect on, and just watch Elvis, perform and try to concentrate on that. And I don't really like using this word, but kind of mimic it, I guess, is the word that I have to use. Because, and the reason I say that is because nobody's ever going to be Elvis Presley. Nobody's ever going to get it perfect. There was only one. We can try everything in the world and it's never going to work. We can get close, but not there. So it's just constantly watching Elvis, getting the privilege to meet, some people that knew Elvis, and, them sitting in the audience watching your show, which is very nerve-wracking. And then hearing their comments, lets me know what I'm doing to prepare for shows, and what I do in my career, I'm doing it right. So
now, how has an Elvis tribute artist, and how do you keep your voice in tip-top shape? Because when you do like a song after song, and how do you keep your voice in tip-top shape?
It's difficult, man. I know over the past, I did my first show for this year on January the 1st at Memories Theater up in Pigeon Forge, and the cold weather, man, really aggravates your voice. So I wasn't feeling 100% vocally that night. But the funny thing was, is people come to me, man, that's the best I've ever heard you sing, and I'm like, okay, I didn't feel it, but okay. And but constantly rest. Sleep as much as you can, which in our career, you don't get really much of that unless, you do take some downtime, which, this week's kind of been some downtime for me. So I've been able to rest. And another thing is to kind of help your voice stay strong is literally try to sing almost every day if you can, which is very hard sometimes, because, the Elvis life and singing life is not my only life. I have a personal life, so there, I pay bills and do everything else. I shop at Walmart. So, you have to do all that stuff. But, a lot of people like to do like throat coat, stuff like that. I've done that in the past. Gargling salt water kind of helps keep everything strong. There's a lot of crazy remedies, honey. So, my key is I try to rest. And I try to, drink some, good tea or something to kind of help with everything. But I have bad allergies. I'm allergic to almost everything. So as a singer, I have it rough.
Now, do you got a favorite jumpsuit?
Yeah, it's hanging in the closet somewhere over there. The fringe suit is probably my favorite right now, that I enjoy wearing. Now my favorite suit that I love to see Elvis wear was the peacock suit. I think that's the most beautiful suit he had. So that's a great suit too. But for me, the suit that I think that fits me the best and for my build and looks best on me, and I love it, is the fringe suit, man. Because man, you got all the tassels hanging, and when you're up there shaking around, it looks like you're moving 100 miles an hour. So that's a good thing.
Now, do you attend Elvis Week?
Yes, I do. Crazy story, and a long story, but I'll try to keep it short. I've been going to Elvis Week since 2012, and I've only missed 1 year, and that was 2020 because of COVID. So I've been going to Elvis Week ever since. And this past year, I believe, was the first time. 2023 was the first time I actually got to go to Elvis Week and enjoy it as a fan. I didn't book any shows. I didn't compete in any competitions. I just wanted to go and enjoy it as a fan because, first off, I'm a fan, and then a tribute artist. So, it was nice to be able to go and, I've been to Graceland might as well say every time I go to Elvis Week, I go to Graceland. I go through the tour and everything, but, a lot of times you're kind of rushed because you have a show that night or something like that. But this time I got to really, sit and enjoy everything. And, they're building so much with the new complex. They're adding, the new Elvis movie with Austin Butler. They made a whole new exhibit and it's really neat. So, but Graceland and Elvis Week, man, is the best. It's a lot of fun. So, a lot of times for tribute artists, we really don't get no downtime. We work more during Elvis Week.
Now, speaking of the Elvis movie, and what is your opinion on that? Did you like it?
That's a really good question. I before I answer, I just did a 9-day show run in December, and we were doing meet and greets after every show. And I kid you not, out of the 9-day show run, the most question asked was what you just asked me. My opinion. From numerous of people, from kids to adults, and my answer is kind of simple. I think, and people watching this might disagree, but this is just how I feel. My opinion. I think Austin Butler was the best pick they could have ever made. I don't think they could have picked anybody any better. I think he did a great job for numerous of reasons. He loved Elvis. He was an Elvis fan. You could tell that by the way he portrayed him in the movie. He was spot on with everything. He worked his butt off. You can tell. The Presley family loved him too. So that must mean, he really did a good job. So I think the movie was good. I'm kind of in between because you have to take consideration. I went to the theaters and watched it 5 times.
Oh, wow.
I went because support Elvis. I'm supporting Elvis, his name and his stuff on the big screen. That's the reason why I done it. But every time I went to watch the movie, I learned something that I missed the last time. But the one thing that kept popping out to me was that I learned that Elvis Presley never got to do anything that made him happy. He always did what somebody else wanted him to do, whether it be the Colonel or whoever, except for the 1968 comeback special. You learn in that movie that was Elvis. That was the real Elvis doing what he loved in front of a live audience. But, you also have to take into consideration, again, that it's a Hollywood film. So not everything is 100% accurate. There's some stuff in that movie that I know for a fact. I've been told by people that know Elvis that wasn't accurate. It didn't happen that way, or it didn't go that way. But I really think that, like I said, you learned that Elvis, always did what somebody else wanted him to do. But that's just the person that he was. He wanted to make everybody happy. But I think the key is that just being able to see Elvis's name on the big screen again, I think they did a fantastic job, and I think it was a great movie.
And of course, I've noticed over the last, I guess, the month or so, there's been a lot of Elvis stuff appearing on TV, appearing in like game shows and commercials. What is your thoughts on the Elvis hologram coming in November 2024?
I just read about that yesterday, and I was like, this is going to be interesting. I think, are they starting in London? Is that where they're starting?
London, yeah.
And then they're going to bring it to Vegas or something. I think it's going to be interesting. I really don't know how to answer that question without actually physically getting to see it. But I mean, I think it's just going to be, if I get to go and I walk in and I sit down and I watch it, I think it's just going to be like an awe moment. You're just going to be like, just froze and don't know what to say. I think it's kind of cool what they're doing. And speaking of that, what you were talking about, the stuff they've done on NBC, they're bringing, I think there's a new movie coming out sometime this year. I think somebody told me the other day that's like literally full of all Elvis songs,
Oh wow.
which is really cool. And I really think because of the movie with Austin Butler, that's really pushed, and really the younger generation, younger than me, is like, man, this guy's cool. Let's do more about him and stuff, which is really bringing in, like I said, the younger generation. So I think the movie is really what's pushing all this to happen more. But the hologram thing, I think it would be cool. I hope I get to see it.
Oh yeah. Now, as an Elvis tribute artist, how do you remember all the lyrics to the songs? Because you do a
I don't.
song after song.
No, man. I mean, the lyrics to the songs, man. Sometimes you don't remember all of them. And I'm just being honest. It's, man, I really don't know how to answer that. That's a good question. That kind of stumped me there. I guess it's just, I'm used to singing it and doing it so much that it's just locked in here, I guess. But there's times, when I'm on stage and I'm singing, like, here's a prime example. I was singing Suspicious Minds. This was like 2 or 3 years ago, which is a very popular Elvis song. Everybody knows it. And I was like midway through the song, and you got your mind locked in on what you're doing. And then there's like somebody on the front row that you can see, because when you're on stage, all these lights are on you. So you can see the first 2 rows, maybe the third, but above that, you can't. And if I don't have contacts on, I can't see nothing, because I wear glasses majority of the time anyway. So this lady was like in the front row, and she was like singing along to the song, and my mind just went strictly to her, and I went blank. Because my mind went off of what I was doing with her, and I went blank. And then I start saying what she's saying, I guess, and she wasn't even saying the right words. And I'm like, well, this is going downhill, So it happens, man. I mean, there's songs that I've been singing since I was 13, and I'll get up there sometimes, and it just goes away. It's a natural thing, but it's hard to remember them all. You have to constantly rehearse.
Now, as an Elvis tribute artist, he got a favorite Elvis tribute artist.
Yeah, I have quite a few. I'll be 28 this March, and there's a lot of guys that really helped me out a lot. And I could sit here and name 1,000. One guy in particular, his name is Jason Sykes. He's from down in Aiken, South Carolina. And when I was about 13, him and I met, and that was really my first big show at this big theater about 40 minutes from where I live. I'd done that with him. I opened for him. And then there was a guy down in Louisiana by the name of Jason Baglow, who sadly is no longer with us anymore. He kind of took me under his wing and took me down to Louisiana and done a bunch of stuff with him for several months. And so he done a lot. Ted Torres, man, from Orlando, Florida, man. I went on tour with him when I was like 15. He's the one that kind of taught me how to do my hair, how to do makeup tips, and all that cool stuff. And then, man, I could keep naming, but one other guy that stands out is Cody Ray Slaughter, who I met when he was 18. I was 13. He was currently working at the Tennessee Shindig in Pigeon Forge, Tennessee, and taught me a lot of tricks and where to get clothes. And him and I hung out after his show was over. And so he was a great guy. So yeah, there's several that taught me a lot. And there's still some guys now, that, still teach me something every day. And the cool thing is that from them teaching me, there's guys that do this as younger than me, that come to me and ask me questions, and I help them, and and all that cool stuff. So it's a cool thing that we just all help each other. So it's really awesome.
Absolutely. Now, and when is your busiest time of the year?
I really don't know. It's all about the same. I would say, like, man, I don't know. Shockingly enough, this might sound weird. Summertime's a little slow sometimes for me. And I think that's because kids are out of school. Everybody's on vacation. but I know like February, March, April, May, and then when the fall starts into Christmas is super, super busy. So I'd say around, maybe June, July is kind of slow, sometimes. Um, but other than that, every other month is slammed.
What is your thoughts on the Christmas at Graceland special back in November?
Who played in that? I'm trying to remember. Was there a country singer who played in that?
I think it was, but I can't remember her name.
I can't. I think it was like Kelly Pickler or something like that. I can't remember. I remember the guy. Is that the one that was on Hallmark? Is what you're talking about?
I'm talking about the Christmas special.
Oh, the Christmas special. Oh, I thought you were talking about the Hallmark movie.
Oh.
The one that just happened recently.
Recently, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I know what you're talking about now. I shockingly enough, I didn't get to watch all of it. I kind of missed the first few minutes, but I thought it was kind of cool. It was different. It was different. There was some artists on there that I think really did a good job. I thought Kane Brown did an awesome job, with Blue Christmas and being able to sing with Elvis. But I think it was cool. It was just different, but it was neat.
Yeah, and did you see where Post Malone jumped in the swimming pool?
Yeah, I saw that. That's lucky guy.
Now, when you go to Graceland, do you got a favorite room in the house that you like to see?
Jungle Room for sure. There's a lot of magic that happened in the Jungle Room, man. A lot of recording sessions, a lot of stuff like that. So that would be my favorite. One room that I always walk into and I get emotional in, and when I walk in, I feel like this like tingling sensation, and I kind of get emotional is the racquetball room. When you walk in there, the room before that, and then the racquetball court, and you hear Elvis, in there singing Unchained Melody and all that stuff, man. It's that's when I always get emotional in, man. I don't stand there very long.
There you go. Of course, I'm a big Elvis fan. If you can't tell from behind back there, which I guess I'm there as well. Have you read any Elvis books by people that knew Elvis?
Well, I'm just gonna be honest with you. I'm not a big reader. Reading books. But I will say there's one that I sat and read. And that's by Elvis's personal nurse, Miss Marion Cock. She wrote a book, and my dad read it first, and then I read it. So as far as that might be the only one that I've really sat and read, because her and I are really close. I call her my grandmother. Her and I are so close. So, but that's probably the only book that I've really, sat and actually read. If it's not audio,
Yeah. Speaking of people close to Elvis, which I'm good friends with, his hairstylist. His name is Larry Geller.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hopefully, he'll be on the podcast sometime this year because I'm in talks with him. So,
Nice.
so hopefully. But yeah, speaking of books, I'm a big book reader, but all my books I got now is all Elvis related.
Okay.
I'm currently reading a book by George Klein that he wrote. So, there's some stories in there about the 68 comeback special, and there's stuff about Elvis buying the Circle G Ranch. Had some funny stuff. And one story in there that made me laugh. George Klein said he was the only man that ever slept with Elvis Presley. Yeah, he said, I think it took place at the Audubon house. It was him and Elvis in bed, and George said that he heard this knocking sound, or this knocking sound, which he asked Elvis what was the sound, and Elvis said, "What sound?" Then George said, it's outside, and Elvis said, "Well, that's all the girls outside banging on the house."
That's too cool, man.
Yeah. So I started reading it, I think on Christmas, and I'm already on chapter 12.
Nice. Awesome, dude.
Yeah, I'm a big reader, and I thought years ago when I became an Elvis fan, about 18, 19 years ago, I believe. Was I always thought Elvis was like this, based like this character from a book, that he didn't exist or whatever, because he seemed too perfect. But to find out years later, and this guy did everything out there.
That's right.
He had a 68 comeback special. He got anything he wanted to get. He got any girl that wanted, he got any girl that he wanted, and guys wanted to be him.
Oh, yeah. Everybody wanted to be Elvis.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, but, I've been an Elvis fan probably before 2004.
Nice.
And I'm 28. Don't look like it, but I'm 28. But yeah, it's just, I like that quote. I think John Lennon said, without Elvis, it would be nothing.
Right.
But, and like I said, I got books. I got about 20 Elvis CDs. I got some vinyl records. And, it's just, and Elvis was too perfect to be here any longer than he was.
Right.
But anyways, let's see here. And where can people find you on social media?
Social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. On Facebook is Austin Irby dash. Make sure you put the dash. Entertainer. Instagram's Austin Irby Entertainment. And website is austinirby.entertainment.com. So that's where you can find anything you need to know about me. I'm not hiding a thing.
All right. It's usually at the end of the podcast, I like to ask people or my guests if they have a closing thought for the people watching. So do you got a closing thought?
My closing thought would be, hey, live life to the fullest, and enjoy all the time you got with your friends and your family. Me, I'm an entertainer. I'm a tribute artist, but I'm a family guy. When I'm not performing, I try my best to spend time as much as I can with my family. And this is what I do for a living. I don't have a day job. Singing and paying tribute to Elvis and others is what I do. So, I'm big on faith. I walk by faith, and, I know it's because of the good Lord above is the reason where I am in my career right now. And, man, I've got to do things and travel the world and stuff that I never thought in a million years I would do. And it's not because of me, it's because the good Lord above, he gave me the talent to share with all these people. And I take advantage of that, and I do it every chance I get. So just remember, live life to the fullest. Remember, God loves you. And hopefully somewhere down the road, our paths are crossed at some point.
Oh, yeah. It was, I hope so anyways. And before I let you go, back in November, I think it was November 10th, I saw my first ever Elvis tribute show.
Okay.
And it was, if I can't pronounce his name, then, I hope you don't see this, but maybe you know him, Cody Dionath.
Yeah, absolutely. Him and I are like this.
Oh, yeah.
We're very close, man. Cody and I met, God, what year? 2011, maybe? I ain't sure. It was my second competition or first contest I ever done. And Cody and I were in the youth division. And yes, he won. I lost, but I got second, so I was happy. My first time. But yeah, Cody's a great guy. He's the reigning ultimate champion for the Elvis world this year, and man, he deserves it. He's worked his butt off, dude. And I've been there with him along the way, and he deserves it, man. He's done a great job, and he's a great guy. And I know for sure you really enjoyed the show. So I'll actually be seeing him next month. Cody does these festivals with ETA Festivals is his company, and we're doing one in Myrtle Beach, and he's got me hired to perform down there. So I'll make sure to tell him that you enjoyed the show.
Oh yeah. Of course I had a good time, and which I think that's the closest that anybody could get to Elvis is like being an Elvis tribute artist.
That's right.
You know, because there will never be another Elvis Presley to walk this planet out.
No, Elvis had it all. There's only one Elvis, and you can get on that stage and do whatever you want to do, but you're never going to be Elvis. And I promise, for everybody that's watching, I don't go on stage with a beard. I normally shave this, but it's been a week off, so I've let it grow.
Well, Austin, which I really enjoyed this conversation, and we might have to do it again down the road.
Absolutely. Sounds good, man. I'd love to.
Alrighty. That wraps it up for this episode of Conversations with Jacob. Tune in next week for another interview. Until then, be safe, God bless, and take care of business.